In this lesson, you will learn good registration management. GRM is one of the priority working areas for APEC LSIF RHSC, an organization established to promote harmonization of pharmaceutical and medical device regulations within the APEC region. This slide shows the definitions for terms used in the organization's roadmap for activities. GRM is recognized as a concept for promoting an efficient registration process for medical products through good review practice, GREV-P, and good submission practice, G-Sub-P. GREV-P is recognized as the documented best practices for all aspects of the reviewing process, formatting, content, and management of medical product reviews. G-Sub-P is recognized as the industry, corporate, practices for all aspects related to the submission process, formatting, content, and management of applicants' submissions of medical products for registration. GRM consists of GREV-P and G-Sub-P. In order to promote GRM, it is important for the regulatory authorities and applicants to follow GREV-P and G-Sub-P, respectively. Furthermore, it is also important for both sides to cooperate with each other. This presentation will be given from the point of view of the regulatory authorities, accordingly, focusing on GREV-P. This is the objective of GREV-P described in the WHO GREV-P guidelines. GREV-P strives to achieve prompt, predictable, consistent, transparent, clear, efficient, and high-quality reviews in terms of both the content of these reviews and their management. In addition, the guidelines state that GREV-P is achieved through the use of review tools such as Standard Operating Procedures, SOPs, and templates, as well as education and training for reviewers. This slide shows the main milestones during PMDA review of new drug and biological license applications. The first milestone after submission is the initial meeting. Next, PMDA sends inquiries based on the discussion at the initial meeting. Usually, PMDA repeats inquiries and responses until PMDA has obtained enough information to form an opinion and draft Review Report 1. PMDA sends this Review Report 1 to external experts, and subsequently, PMDA holds expert discussions. Next, PMDA prepares the final review report, which includes the results of the expert discussions, as well as PMDA's final opinion, and sends it to the applicants. The applicants submit their review report and application dossier to MHLW, and finally, MHLW makes its final decision based on advice from the Drug Committee. There are many milestones in the process from submission to approval. Accordingly, regulators should manage each review milestone to promote effective registration. For example, this is the timeline of the standard review, completed within 12 months. The first milestone, the initial meeting, should be achieved between 10 to 12 weeks, with the inquiries related to important items completed within 2 to 3 weeks afterwards. This scheduling plan, with each milestone identified, has been made publicly available. For this reason, it is important for PMDA to achieve this goal. The standard review timeline is available to the public on the PMDA website. PMDA makes the utmost effort to ensure transparency and proceed with reviews in accordance with the published timeline. In the past, PMDA did not publish this review timeline. Many people were against publishing it because this could be seen as committing to the same schedule for all applicants. However, as a result of the publication, proper resource allocation is now possible, improving the efficiency of our reviews. For this reason, there is a special meeting called the Pre-Submission Pre-Consultation Meeting, held between the applicant and PMDA to exchange information prior to the submission of an application. There is no fee for this consultation. Participants are the team leader and deputy team leader from the PMDA side, and the regulatory affairs personnel from the applicant side. The applicant and PMDA confirm the following information. The timeline includes major milestones such as submission of NDA documents, GMP inspection, the initial meeting, inquiries and responses, expert meeting, the meeting of the drug committee, and finally, approval. And the timeline for submitting additional data, final CSR of long-term safety trial, long-term stability study, and the number of copies of application dossiers for reviewers and external experts, and the storage location and method for case report forms. This meeting is very important because we share a lot of information. Information about the pre-submission, pre-consultation meeting and its implementation guidelines are also available to the public on the PMDA website. This information explains the specific matters discussed at the meeting. PMDA has prepared SOPs to conduct an efficient review. One of the PMDA SOPs is the SOP of the Office of New Drug, which describes procedures for the matters. Although the number of years of experience each reviewer has varies, PMDA believes that the development of this SOP has enabled all reviewers to complete their work without issues. This includes the date of the application, initial meeting, communication for inquiries and responses, preparation of review reports, expert discussions, confirmation of GCP and GMP inspection progress, meetings with the Pharmaceutical Affairs and Food Sanitation Council, and post-approval tasks. SOPs for these matters have been established and implemented, enabling appropriate project management. The SOP for the Office of New Drug is not available outside of PMDA because it describes specific procedures in detail. On the other hand, matters to be shared with applicants are published on the PMDA website via notifications and administrative notices. Other information about the review schedule and fees has also been issued through these means. Although not everything has been translated, some of the notifications are also available in English. These materials are accessible using the link on this slide. Next is review reports. PMDA has prepared a format for review reports. This slide shows the table of contents, which is common to all products. The format specifies the matters to be described in advance, such as data on quality, pharmacokinetic studies, toxicity studies, clinical studies, an outline of the review by PMDA, and the overall evaluation. This assists our staff in making the necessary inquiries without omissions and minimizes the required work. As a result, these operations are more efficient operations for both applicants and PMDA. Furthermore, PMDA created the points to be considered by the review staff involved in the evaluation process of new drugs and released it in 2008. This document describes the purpose, scope, and basic principles related to the evaluation process for new drugs, and also covers points to consider during the new drug evaluation process. In addition, a check sheet is attached at the end. The purpose of this document is to build common understanding among PMDA reviewers involved in the new drug evaluation process by showing the basic principles of reviewer in the evaluation process and clarifying major points to consider. This is the check sheet attached to the document. The points to consider when deciding approval or rejection related to factors such as the development concept and design, reliability, efficacy, reproducibility of study results, and consideration of risks and benefits, serious and rare diseases, and social needs are listed. In the review process, PMDA uses this check sheet to clarify the logic leading up to the judgment of approval or rejection. However, PMDA does not necessarily reach their conclusions based solely on the content of this checklist. PMDA also considers other factors in some cases, depending on the drug. For more information, please visit the PMDA website. Various initiatives are carried out to develop a consistent mindset among all reviewers. In the next slide, some projects conducted across multiple offices at PMDA are shown. These include CMC, toxicology, pharmacokinetics, biostatistics, and clinical review, and each review includes team members from these offices. A cross-sectional meeting for each expertise is conducted. For this purpose, team leaders' meetings are conducted. In this way, information about the reviews among the different offices is shared. Information related to the items each team handled is shared. As mentioned in the previous slide, There are many discussion groups and working groups at PMDA. Some examples are shown in this slide. Cardiovascular Risk Evaluation Discussion Group, Companion Diagnostics Working Group, Global Clinical Study Working Group, ICH-Q12 Working Group, Innovative Manufacturing Technology Working Group, Nanomedicine Initiative Discussion Group, Omics Working Group, Orphan Drugs Working Group, Pediatric Drugs Working Group. Through these various discussion groups and working groups, reviewers share a lot of information and make review policy uniform. Let's explain more about the staff involved in multi-office projects. For example, for a project related to the review of new drugs, not only the offices of New Drug 1 to 5, but also the Office of Cellular and Tissue-Based Products, Office of Vaccines and Blood Products, and Division of Standards and Guidelines Development are involved. In addition, the Office of Generic Drugs and Office of Pharmacovigilance also take part in projects as necessary.